Again, thank you very much for joining us today. Really appreciate your presence, your time, and hopefully we'll, do what we can to make this all worthwhile. We've got a good one here. We've got Alex Hitchcock with us from Captured, and we're going to be talking all about ARConnect. So using Matterport in an AR environment, which we got some videos to show you. It's kind of hard. It's not a tool that we can screen share and whatnot and show you the tool, but we'll show you what that looks like on a mobile device and talk about how some of Captured's customers are using it. So with that, Alex, you may be expecting Stephen. I apologize, Stephen is not feeling well, so Alex, very kind, able to join us and take his place. So with that said, again, Alex, huge thank you. I appreciate it. I know this was very last minute for you, but yeah, appreciate your time and
happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course, absolutely. Let's talk ARConnect. That's what we want to talk about. The focus of today's webinar. Give me a brief description of what it is. I understand a little bit about AR. I know I have my mobile device with a camera. I can see the screen on my mobile device, and I can see what the camera sees and what I can see, all around it. What's it do? How does it do what it does?
Yeah, absolutely. So ARConnect has been built specifically to connect with Matterport software. So you can essentially activate AR from a Matterport scan by bringing it into Captured. It doesn't require any additional development or anything like that. It's kind of out of the box, very easy to use. And you can essentially set alignment points within your Matterport scan to then, activate a layer of augmented reality over the scan using an ARConnect app that's accessible on App Store or Google Play Store. So you can start to layer in additional content and information, whether that's virtual staging or IoT data or BIM integration. I know we're kind of focusing more on facilities management today. Really just to make sure that there's additional efficiencies within the workplace that people can use to access this additional layer of content.
Awesome. So before I'm very interested in kind of getting a better understanding of how that's done. Is it in the app? Is there a desktop option? How to get those assets into they are all integrated with Matterport and all of that, I guess. But let's start with, I guess, just some use cases. How are you seeing customers using this feature, using ARConnect?
A whole range of things really, going from virtual staging, to be able to visualize certain 3D assets in the space. It can be used to integrate IoT data into to get a better idea of what's going on in the space. It's used across multiple industries such as facilities management, looking at as built versus design, within education for providing additional information to students in the classroom. We had an amazing experience that we created for a recycling plant for a STEM school, so they could see exactly how the plant works within just kind of an empty bare bones classroom that came to life. Also with kind of like smart cities as well. We've done some amazing projects with certain parks and locations with certain sensors in to understand how the public is using that space, as well as kind of in utilities as well, contractor onboarding, staff onboarding, things like that. So there's a wide variety of use cases that can be used for.
Fantastic. All right. So I think maybe the best thing is to start with an example. Do you want to go or should I?
You can go first. We can kind of go back and forth. I have a few examples on my side too.
I'll start screen sharing here. Okay, so this is a webinar that we did, so you can see a little bit more, not just the video. But what I want to focus on is this right here in the middle, obviously. Okay, so first thing is this part right here. This is really important. You can see how it says scan the floor, scan the environment. So what's happening is you've got the user holding the phone and kind of moving, kind of waving that around so it can grab the measurements off of the area where you are, the actual office. And that's how it kind of links the Matterport model and the BIM assets and everything kind of together to where you are in the physical space itself. Am I right about that so far?
Yeah, exactly. It's essentially setting alignment points on the Matterport scan through the captured Creator Studio, and then setting that alignment point on desktop on your computer, and then going to the physical place itself and matching that alignment point so that the system can align that to the digital to the physical and know exactly where you are in the space and where all the assets need to be placed as well.
Brilliant. Do you need to be somewhere specific in the physical space, or does it not really matter?
It's a good question. So we have a couple of different ways of doing it. One is a manual measurement alignment point that can be set kind of in between doorways or really kind of places where it doesn't really change much with superficial renovation. We can also offer image targets as well. So the scan can be aligned with an image. And then recently we've also progressed to area targets as well, where we're using the whole OBJ file to align and connect to the space. And that can be done anywhere. So for area targets, it can be done absolutely anywhere. For the manual measurement or image alignment, it would have to be done at that point of measurement or image that was taken and used.
Got it. Okay, makes sense. So as we're seeing the video kind of play through, you can see that they're just walking through this physical office space and able to move kind of between these different assets that have been aligned with it. You saw BIM assets before, IoT data. I think we saw that earlier with the temperature of the location of the office where they're at. Right now, we're looking at some more BIM assets, and you can integrate a lot of things. I mean, you guys did a phenomenal job with this. You can look at equipment that is actually hidden behind walls, behind drop ceiling, things like that, air conditioning units, whatnot. Pull up, user manuals, know exactly what was installed, and it just seems like, I mean, this looks like X-ray vision, basically. That's the first thing that comes to mind. Here's there's a user manual. So it seems like a lot of work to get all this stuff kind of in place. Is that right, or is it pretty straightforward? Is it pretty simple?
It's pretty simple. Again, it doesn't require any additional development as such. It's all done out of the box through the captured Creator Studio, and it essentially means that you're anchoring whatever digital assets you want to onto specific areas of the model. So you only need to do that once, and then once you've done that, it's set up for any contractor who comes in who wants to access the tour, any other different stakeholders, they can access that straight away. So in terms of setting up a space like that, maybe, or depending what content you're adding in, it could take 45 minutes, an hour, depending. And then once you've done that, then anyone can kind of access all of those different areas of content and different layers of content that they need to access.
Got it, understood. And ARConnect is just a cloud-based tool. You can just
it's an app. It's an app-based tool. Yeah. So
okay.
So you download the app and then be able to visualize all the content through that app.
So if you've got BIM assets, you import them into ARConnect, or do you link them from, I don't know, a Google Drive account? I mean, how does that?
Yeah, so it's through Captured Creator Studio. So I can share my screen with you quickly if you like, and
Sure, that'd be great.
show you an example. So this is the captured dashboard of a particular property. So what we can do is jump into the Creator Studio. You can see my screen, okay?
Yes.
Perfect. So this is kind of where all the initial magic happens, where you can start building out the experience. So there's a bunch of different features in here, but focusing on ARConnect specifically, what we can do is jump onto the ARConnect tab. And there's a few different options here as we were talking about this alignment process here. This is where you can set manual measurement points. So using the Matterport measurement tool, for example, as I mentioned before, you can kind of set these manual measurement points to structural areas that don't change with superficial renovations, right? So doorways, things like that won't often change. So we can set this measurement point here, for example, give it a name. Corridor, for example, and then we can save that. And as you can see on the right side here, I've just got the webinar window open here, but we've got some alignment points that we've made here at the top. So once we've set these in the desktop in Captured Creator Studio, we can then download the ARConnect app and realign these points or match these points within the physical space using the ARConnect app with the camera on the app. And then when you want to upload content, we can jump onto staging. and I think there's a few objects here that we've added in for virtual staging. But for BIM, for example, if you have a BIM file that you've downloaded, all you need to do is jump over here and come over to custom and just upload your own 3D assets. So it needs to be, you'll need to convert that BIM to a GLB file or a GLTF for it to be accessible and then viewable. But it's just a simple, just simply you can upload that. And then just once you've uploaded it, you can align that to the model itself, just so you have everything to scale. And it's as easy as that. And then whatever content you need, other content you need to add in, you can do so. And then it's just a matter of, opening up ARConnect, making sure your alignment points have been matched and created correctly. And then you can start seeing this additional information through the AR lens in the ARConnect app. So that's kind of a brief overview of how it works in here. Obviously, there's all other sorts of features that can be integrated into the AR experience. So media and audio, videos, tags are also visible as well. But for 3D models such as the BIM asset, you would be uploading that via the virtual staging icon here, and then just doing a custom upload as a GLB or GLTF.
Understood. Got it. Okay, so basically you just convert to a GLB. When you get BIM assets, they are basically to the same scale as the Matterport model, so scale shouldn't be an issue. It should just match. It might just be a matter of tweaking the XYZ coordinates so it fits where it's supposed to fit, and that's it. It's kind of the same concept as, like you said, adding in a couch, where you want it. It's that, or this statue. Yeah, just
exactly. Yeah.
Back and forth. But it's an entire BIM, so your whole BIM asset in 3D, basically.
Exactly. So as you mentioned, we have like tweaking the axes, position, rotating, scaling it if needed, to match that exactly to the model.
Got it. Okay. So you throw in those the same way you would furniture. And if you are interested in doing other assets like video, would you just kind of link to video in YouTube or something like that, or does that also have to be a MP4?
Yeah, you can upload either or. So you can upload via a URL link or via a file as well to view all that content.
Okay, and that too, asset that gets dropped in, and you can place it on any wall in the structure.
Exactly.
When you're in the physical space, you don't see the Matterport model, or right? You see all the assets that you've dropped in, but you're not actually looking at the Matterport model itself. Does it automatically know to not show you the Matterport model? Can you choose to show you the Matterport model?
Yeah, well, essentially the Matterport model would be the physical space. So you're actually viewing the physical space through the camera lens, and then all that additional layer of digital data will be layered on top of that physical space. So really, there's no need to kind of view that Matterport scan because you're in the real life space that the scan's been taken from. The Matterport model isn't viewable, but the physical space is, with all the additional content that has been layered over here. If you're in this office space, you wouldn't see the Matterport model, but you would see everything as it is true to life in the scan. But yeah, just with this additional content added in.
And if you have, I don't know, like a Matterport model of a previous stage, like an unfinished asset, can you choose to show it?
Yeah, so good question. So we've done custom builds like that, like you showed for Arup, and a few other clients as well. We have like a timescale coming in as a forward-facing feature later in the year to be able to kind of scrub through different time periods. But yeah, that's coming. But yeah, we have had clients request that, and we've done custom builds and had some good success with it.
Got it. Okay, so right now it's a bit of a custom build for you guys, but that is a feature that's coming by the end of the year. And what that means is I could scan my build, as a facility manager prior to, let's say, installation and sheetrock, so I can see all that MEP, the plumbing and the wiring and all that stuff that's inside the walls. Have a Matterport scan of that, and then integrate that into the ARConnect, and actually be able to see that model when I'm in the physical space after everything's been covered up.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Awesome. I mean, I am not a facility manager, but I can definitely imagine. I've done some, very minor construction work, I can definitely imagine knowing what's inside the walls is absolutely huge to me. I think that would be amazing. From my perspective, just installing something that requires knowing where the studs are would be great. That would be amazing.
Exactly. It's very, very useful for many different stakeholders who want to come in and see certain elements, or be able to understand the data coming from certain elements. So yeah, it's a massive time saver. As well as a very innovative way to to be able to view and visualize that data.
Yeah. Brilliant. Okay. So what let's look at some questions. Did you have any videos? Because I know we talked about that park
Yeah,
example.
I can I
I
can
think that's a
I
really
can
good
show you an
one.
example. Yeah, I can show you an example here that we did. Let me just bring it up. So it's a park called Argyle Square. And we were working with Melbourne Council on this to essentially understand how the general public is interacting with the park, and the different elements within the park. So awesome. So all of this is on our website as well. We do have a video here that I can scrub through, but it's essentially just understanding, as I said, different elements, temperature data, understanding the capacity of bins, for example, when they need to be replaced, how full they are at particular times, understanding how often they get used. There's a stage here as well. I can just scrub through this video. It's probably easier. Hopefully this comes through, as sometimes it can be a little bit jittery, the videos.
Okay.
So yeah, these are kind of the three areas we were focusing on through the testbed functionality to test all this. Where are we? Better understanding and communicating park activity. And just communicating transparently about the tech and the use and the data capture that this provides. So we have these tags. So these are essentially Matter tags that have been converted to AR tags within the space to understand how these are being interacted with. These have been connected with IoT data. As I mentioned, the bins, how full they are, etc. We also have a stage here. There's a public stage. So there were sensors integrated into the ceiling to understand how or when the stage was getting used, and how much and how long people were spending on that stage throughout the different months. Whoops. And as well as just understanding, temperature, microclimates of the different areas of the park as well. Bench usage. Just little aspects like this that will really help councils to really understand how the park's been interacted with, and how they can best use that data to apply to other areas, other parks, and things like that. So pretty cool little concept here. As mentioned, it had the IoT data feeding through pedestrian sensors, etc. This was a really cool.
Sorry, was this done this way so that the public would be able to access this information and just kind of see and for their
So I
own
believe,
curiosity, or is this?
yeah, good question. I believe this was an internal project just with the councils, but I believe that there was scope to kind of provide this as an end product to end users, or the public using the park itself. But I think initially it was just for council's use, to understand how it was being used.
Got it. Understood. That's really cool. I don't know what kind of IoT data or IoT sensors they had up there, but very cool way of kind of gauging usage of everything, really. And I'm sure that can come in really handy when designing the next park.
Yeah, exactly. And this IoT data from the sensors, it can just be integrated via a URL straight into the captured Creator Studio, and then that's brought forward into the AR experience as well. Very easy to kind of implement all this once you have the sensors set up, or the IoT data feeding through.
Got it. So once you've got IoT sensors set up in your facility, getting them into ARConnect is a pretty straightforward process.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's just done via integrating a URL within a tag, and then that tag can then visualize that live data coming through.
Got it. So you use ARConnect, you walk through the model, put the tag where you want it to be inside the model, and just link it to the URL, basically.
Exactly. Yeah. So exactly. So pretty much exactly the same as integrating a Matter tag into a space, and then captured tags have a few bits of additional functionality. Such as being able to integrate this data into.
Got it. Great. That makes perfect sense. Uh, yeah, I know certainly with facility management, a lot of times we also have customers who they'll have staff on site, but experts are often off site. And for the expert to understand, what the on-site staff is doing and needs, having that integration with the IoT and the Matterport model is critical. And so the on-site person basically can have something like this, get more information off of the whatever industrial equipment or anything that happens to be there, and the off-site expert can be there with them, kind of guiding them along the way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a great way to kind of streamline this information. It means that certain external stakeholders may not need to come to the physical site itself to do these inspections. They can access that data remotely from wherever they are. So yeah, good efficiency, time saving, cost saving, obviously as well from there.
Yeah. Brilliant. Awesome. So, okay. Let's look at some questions before we go on to the next example. Does the app store data, or will that live within the Matterport platform? I believe it's the AR, I guess it depends on the data you're referring to, Samantha, but I think for the most part, we're talking about uploaded BIM assets, something like that is stored within ARConnect, is that right?
Yes, correct. Yeah, so it'll be stored in the captured platform that you've integrated that content into initially through desktop, and then viewed through the ARConnect platform. So yeah, it wouldn't be stored in Matterport directly. It would be stored in captured / ARConnect.
And the Matterport model itself, that's just linked right in.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so really easy to bring a Matterport model into captured, just copy and paste the URL, and it's as easy as that. It takes less than 20 seconds.
Yeah. So you paste the URL for your captured model. Sorry, for your captured model. And into captured, and then you have that ARConnect tab that you can go into. It'll show you the model, and you can do anything like add tags, add 3D assets like BIM or anything else, media and so on. And then when you're on site, we have to create that little measurement line that you showed us. So
yeah, through measurements or area
between.
targets. Yeah, if you have, we probably recommend area targets. We found a little bit more success in terms of accuracy of alignment, especially as the model gets slightly larger as well. So for that, you need the OBJ file downloaded from Matterport. But yeah, there are a couple of different ways of doing it depending on your use case. Either the manual measurement image alignment, which can be really good for the end user or the member of the public to just easily align via a picture, or the area targets as well, which I find to be the most successful, I'd say.
When you say area targets, is that like a QR code, or is that not right?
Yeah, so it's essentially uploading the OBJ file, so downloading the matter pack from Matterport, and then integrating that OBJ file into the AR experience, which basically means you can align from anywhere. So we were talking before about having these manual measurement alignment points. You would have to then align from that specific area or point that you've created that measurement from. However, with the area targets and the OBJ integration, you can align from absolutely anywhere. You don't need to be in a specific place in the model. You just open your phone, ARConnect, wave it around, and within a couple of seconds, it's aligned.
Got it. So that kind of feeds all those measurement lines, like every measurement line, really into the model itself.
It's the whole mesh.
Yeah,
it's the whole mesh essentially. Yeah. So yeah, no need to create any manual measurements. It's essentially done through the entire mesh of the model, so that it will recognize any particular part of the mesh wherever you are within the space.
All right, fantastic. So that's another. Sounds like a really good way of getting them to align. Omar asks, can that work for navigating the area to different, for example, of a mall? Can you use ARConnect to do like wayfinding, or you have another tool for wayfinding maybe?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, it's good we got onto this because I don't think we've spoken about it yet. So yeah, you are able to integrate wayfinding into the augmented experience in ARConnect, and that again takes place within the captured creator studio. So you're able to set specific wayfinding points, and then either create an A to B journey. So hey, I'm currently at the front door, I want to get to this particular office, and then it will give you a wayfinding layer over that, or you can have a journey with multiple different stops taking you from A to B to C to D to E, for example, and then ending after a particular journey. So those are visualized through blue wayfinding orbs. There's a few videos on our captured YouTube page kind of visualizing how that looks, showing how that looks. But yeah, that's definitely possible wayfinding within a particular model.
Cool. So, I mean, with Omar's example, you're at a mall, there's, the directory or something like that. The mall facilities team could choose to have a wayfinding QR code or some kind of, link on that directory. It'll align, it kind of figures out where you are, kind of gets you into the ARConnect platform and tool. And you can just search for the directory of where you want to go, hit that button, and then you start seeing in your screen, on the screen on your phone, you'll start seeing these little blue dots that you're talking about, kind of leading you in that direction. You don't have to know, or remember the map. Oh, I'm here, I got to go here. It just kind of leads you in
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can set up each wayfinding point within the Captured Creator Studio first. So just setting up each point that you want to be able to be navigated to, or the end user to navigate to. And then there's a little wayfinding button in the ARConnect app that you can click. And then that will bring up each of those stop points. And then the end user can select where they want to go based on where they currently are. So they'll just select a point or a journey, as I mentioned, with multiple stop points, and then be able to be directed to those places.
Cool. Yeah, and it sounds like inside GPS basically is what we're talking about.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So Google Maps, but indoors.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Google Maps. Yeah, brilliant. All right. Let's see what else we got here. I think Joseph asked this when you had when we were in the ARConnect model or tool, and there was a kind of a lady, an animated figure in the corner there. Is she an asset that you can interact with? I think it's just like a pre-recorded. Can you, I mean, what kind of, is there kind of interaction with that? Oh, you're on mute.
Apologies,
Yeah,
taking a sip of coffee. So yeah, it's essentially a 3D asset that's been animated on a loop. So we've partnered with Sketchfabs to be able to integrate hundreds of thousands of different models into there. She can't be interacted with yet, but we're definitely looking into sequencing to be able to maybe click her to be able to tell us additional information, etc., and things like that. So that's definitely coming. But yeah, we definitely see use cases for that. But at the moment, she can't be interacted with as such. However, you can, and I mentioned this to a few clients recently, you can kind of combine different features to give that aura of interactivity. For example, if you have that animated lady, for example, and then you're able to place spatial audio onto certain areas of the model so that when the end user walks into that space, audio will start playing. So you can combine that with having that animated lady that when you walk into her general vicinity, she could start talking and give more information about the space, which gives that feeling of interactivity. But sequencing and be able to, if I click this asset, then this happens is definitely something that we're looking into and going to be launching later in the year.
Cool. Yeah, that makes sense. So you can use those type of assets, just kind of add interest to like a guided tour, when you're at a place, a museum, for example, and you're at a piece, you want to learn more about that piece. You could just have the audio speaking to you, or you could have like this animated character also speaking to you, or even just like a recorded video. I mean, I know people have used green screen characters and recorded the video and just put that in as well.
Absolutely. And you can trigger those videos currently within the Captured Creator Studio to the video will start playing when that video is viewed by the end user, is viewable in the vicinity or kind of on load of the experience. So you can kind of, toggle through how you want that video to play to kind of, provide more interactivity and immersion into the experience.
Yeah, that's a cool kind of a guide. So as you're there with the phone walking around, again, just let's say a museum or whatever it might be, it doesn't really matter. In turn, and then you see the figure, this character, then it starts playing, then it starts talking to you and saying, hey, this is where we're at and what you're seeing.
Exactly, yeah. So combining various features to kind of work together within the experience is pretty powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. You can add assets in captured. Can you remove items from the Matterport scan? Matterport, the room that has furniture, somehow get rid of furniture and replace the new furniture in captured. Is that something that's possible?
Good question. I'm really looking forward to this as well because I definitely see use cases for it. At the moment, you can only add additional digital content within the tool. You can't remove physical items or objects from the tool. The thing may be using the trim tool within Matterport to kind of hide certain elements or sections of the tool of that. But no, at the moment, it's definitely something that we're working towards. But at the moment, it's just adding in those 3D assets rather than removing physical ones that have been taken in the scan.
Yeah. Yeah, makes sense. All right. Can you share BIM overlay in the Matterport viewer, not just in the real world AR? So can you
Yes.
have, okay, so if I am not in the real world, in the space itself, in the physical space, and I just want to look at this model, would I look at it? I would look at it through captured, and the assets that I integrated using ARConnect would be there. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. So you can view the BIM model as essentially a virtual staging item within desktop. So away from the AR functionality, you can have the BIM model displayed, as a virtual staging model or layer within the desktop version. So that's definitely possible for sure. Anything you do on desktop or any assets you're adding in to be viewed on the desktop version can also be applied into AR as well. So it really depends on how you want that to be used, and you can have both of those showing in each version of the experience.
Yeah. And I mean, it's just like Showcase, right? You just share a link with anybody, really. Whoever has that link will see the model and those assets because they're kind of linking through captured. They're kind of getting to the model through captured, which is layering on the assets.
Exactly. Exactly. You can toggle on and off those layers as well. So if you wanted to see the BIM, you can click that and it will appear. And if you wanted to hide it, you can turn that off as well. So you can toggle between those different layers as well to showcase whatever you want to see.
Got it. Can you use that? I guess that's coming in the future. You know, instead of toggling the BIM, toggling a second model.
So that's possible at the moment. So you can
Okay.
have multiple models connected through one URL of the tool. So we have something called our navigation menu, which can integrate all sorts of external content, but then also multiple different scans of different buildings or areas that can be toggled through and then viewed individually, but through the same URL link as well, which is it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I have actually seen this where someone took like a Google Street View, or not the Street View, not the Pano, but the 3D asset from Google, right? Their Google Earth,
Mhm.
where you have kind of the exterior of the building, and integrated that model with the interior from Matterport, and you can turn the exterior on and off.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. I'll need to dig out one of those examples. We have a couple of really cool examples. I can share that on our Captured Community Facebook page, so I can share all those models as well. And yeah, as you said, you can have exterior models either taken through drone and applied, like had photogrammetry conversions done on it. To toggle off and viewing the exterior or the outside layer of the model, or as you said before, more of like a neighborhood Google Maps kind of view. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, people are getting really creative, and this is all based on basically dropping furniture and kind of virtual staging. It's the same concept. Instead of a couch, you are dropping in an entire neighborhood model, basically, and you just have to make sure that it's to scale, and then the model, the Matterport model just kind of fits right into the building.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Just making sure it's to scale, and then obviously, or making sure that that digital model or asset isn't too heavy as well, because it can affect performance sometimes if it's a very, very, very large model. If you have multiple large models or assets, sorry, within the model. So yeah, just making sure that that's optimized as much as possible before integrating.
Got it. So there's a limit, but people obviously are getting very creative with this.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's some really cool stuff coming out, and people are really taking it to the nth degree, which is cool to see.
Yeah, that is cool. You mentioned an example with the school. I think that's kind of cool and kind of shows the concept, I guess. We'll look at it through this, but the idea is dropping in these assets into an empty space to kind of show what's possible.
Yeah, absolutely. I can share my screen as well and just showcase that quickly. So this is for a STEM school called Quantum Victoria. Yeah, and as you mentioned, it was an empty classroom, and the kids were learning about recycling plants and how those operate and work. And they turned an empty classroom into an entire recycling plant that the kids could then interact with and view. I'll just get this video up and scrub through. Uh, Bear with me a second. I think from here's pretty good. So again, like using those alignment points just to connect within the classroom, and then the kids were able to see all this additional content and the process of how it all works firsthand, essentially. So yeah, integrating all of these models into here. I think it goes on to show how these were integrated through the Captured Creator Studio as well. I'll scrub through. Yeah, so that's kind of where all the magic starts within the Capture Creator Studio, and then applying, as you said, just like a normal virtual staging model or assets through, having videos in here to give kind of additional information about the different areas or steps of the recycling plant as well. And yeah, it's just a really fun interactive experience. It had some really great feedback from both teachers as well as students as well. Yeah, who kind of love seeing it through an ulterior lens and getting used to everything up close. So yeah, that was really successful. We've done a few other projects with the STEM school as well, with different kind of AR activations. So yeah, it's something that they're adopting and really, really loving.
Yeah, that's really cool. I mean, obviously, in this case, education is the point, is the use case. But I think the idea stays the same, right? You've got a shell of a room or a facility in any case, and you drop in assets of the way things could be. I mean, you could use this for potential design and space planning by dropping in things and walking around and kind of interacting with the space as you would before anything actually arrives on site and you start putting it together, just to make sure that you can maneuver through this. Or I don't know, I'm just kind of coming up with stuff, but the idea is before actually putting together everything, put it together virtually and see how well it works using AR.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. It's a great additional way to kind of be immersed and showcase things that you might not be able to see firsthand. Taking 40 kids to a recycling plant might be a bit too hectic. So yeah, it's good that they can view it from their own classroom, their own institution.
Yeah, 100%. That's a really cool use case. I like that one. All right. Let's see here. We did have another question. Oh, by all means, if you have any questions, go ahead and use the Q&A panel for that. I did kind of forget to mention that in the beginning. The chat panel, I love seeing all the chat that's going on here. That's great. You should use that to kind of talk amongst yourselves and see what others are doing and maybe how they're using AR. But if you do have a question for either myself or Alex, please use the Q&A panel.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to mention as well that it's obviously sometimes challenging to show augmented reality projects through desktop or a screen share. So we do have a number of videos on our Captured YouTube page as well. So yeah, feel free to jump on and view some additional content and videos there. I'm also happy to have some one-on-one meetings with anyone who wants to explore this further. And so yeah, feel free to get in touch with me. I'm happy to schedule an in-depth demo and go from there.
Brilliant. Yeah, absolutely. Maybe mention where's the best place for people to get more information about ARConnect. Should they just go to Captured? You mentioned, do you have a YouTube or some other
Yeah, so our Captured YouTube page, and we also have our Captured community Facebook page as well, with a bit of community on there where we can share ideas and concepts and different experiences. And then I'm also happy to schedule a demo with anyone or one-on-one meetings with anyone who wants to hear more about it. I can put my email in the chat now so that everyone feel free to reach out and we can go from there.
Brilliant. Sounds great. Okay, back to the questions. I've never heard of ARConnect until now. I'm using Matterport. I just got the app, but it says, oh no, there are no spaces available. I have a lot of spaces with Matterport. How do I get started? Okay, so I don't exactly know what might be going on in this case. Could be a number of things, to be honest, Eric. My best suggestion is to just reach out to support, email support@matterport.com. They'll be able to actually go, into the account and see what might be going on. And again, I'm not sure, just based off of what I know right now. Okay, are you able to display? Oh, sorry. Are you able to display virtual staging data in AR to show furniture in an empty house? So you've got an empty house. It is unfurnished. You've scanned it. You've brought the Matterport model into Captured. You go into ARConnect and you spend 5 to 10 minutes basically virtually staging the house. And then it sounds like what you can do is take that link that Captured gives you, go to the house, go back to the house, scan the floor, whatever, to, once you've drawn that little measurement line, so it kind of aligns and syncs up. And then using your mobile device, tablet or phone, you'll be able to see all that furniture that you dropped in there inside the unfurnished house itself. Am I pretty much got that right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So all starts with integrating a Matterport scan into the Captured platform, and then you can jump into our Creator Studio and then start to place all the virtual furniture within there. We have an asset library of a few hundred assets for commercial and residential real estate. But as I mentioned earlier, we've also partnered with a company called Sketchfab, the world's largest 3D asset provider, and you can access close to 1 million models directly from the Captured Creator Studio from Sketchfab as well. And you can also upload your custom assets as well. We have some videos on our YouTube channel showcasing how you can scan objects, physical life, real life objects with an app called Polycam. It's essentially, photogrammetry and creating 3D asset files from real life objects that you can then just upload into the Captured Creator Studio. So I can try and bring up an example in a second, or I can share it with you later. But yeah, it's very simple to do. Staging an empty home, a 2-bedroom home, I'd say takes 20 to 30 minutes, maybe slightly longer if you're first starting out, and then slightly less if you become a pro at it. That's all viewable through augmented reality as well, through the ARConnect app, and virtual staging through desktop as well.
That's actually interesting. I've used Polycam before. It's actually very cool. It's a really neat way of creating 3D models, and a good way if whatever, just kind of go back to furniture. If it doesn't exist, in Sketchfab or in your library, and it's a place, I don't know, let's say some fancy designer that may not have their furniture or whatever it is in 3D for you to download, right? You could be in their showroom, use Polycam to scan, create a 3D model of whatever it is, dining room table, couch, doesn't really matter, and then bring that into your space and see exactly, like how that would fit, what it would look like. Does it work? Does it not work? Again, it's like space planning before actually committing to anything.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And a lot more cost effective than real life physical virtual staging as well. So
100%. Real life virtual staging can be very expensive. I don't know what it's like in Melbourne, but here it's thousands of dollars.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, same here.
Okay, so we have a question. Let's go ahead and read this off. I purchased my Pro 2 camera back in late October, so my knowledge is limited. No problem. Is it possible to pull model data directly from the camera without upload to the application? And is it possible to translate the scan to DWG and or SKP file formats? So not really, meaning no, you can't do that. The file format that when you scan using a Matterport camera or the Matterport app, basically, regardless of what camera you're using, you get a proprietary file format that it's a bunch of raw data. It's not a 3D model. It has to go through Matterport Cortex kind of processing engine to become a 3D model. All right. So inside your Matterport app, even though you start seeing things get fleshed out, and you can kind of even now, I think the latest version may be able to show you in 3D. Maybe we're not quite there yet. but that feature is in beta for sure. It's not a completed, fully fleshed out 3D model. Okay. It has to go through processing. Once it's gone through processing, sure, you can download the OBJ, you can download, Matterport, and other assets, E37 files, so on. But it's not, and nothing is really stored on the camera itself. It's all in the app. The app controls the camera. The camera, does its little scan, transfers everything to the app, and everything is there. Can you get files from the app onto your, device? Sure. I mean, you can export it right from the app and get it there. But again, the raw data, it's not going to make any sense. Can't be brought into or converted into DWG from that. It's got to go through processing first. All right. Can we link our Matterport BIM to captured and show our engineers the space through captured?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so you can, as I mentioned before, like the Capture Creator Studio, if you can convert your BIM to a GLB file or a GLTF, can be done with various software programs such as Blender. You can then integrate that directly into the Capture Creator Studio and then share that via a link or even a white labeled link. We do offer white label as well, to your customers directly. They can then kind of toggle the BIM on and off and view the physical space and or any other digital assets that have been integrated. So yeah, definitely possible.
I know Matterport, when you order the BIM assets from us, we provide an RVT, right, a Revit file. Do you know, and I'm just not very familiar with Revit, we don't have our expert Revit with us. Do you know if you can take that, open it up in Revit or some AutoCAD tool and convert and export out as the proper?
Yes, yeah, I believe you can. I don't know the exact steps, but yeah, I believe that's possible. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So it's basically just open up, and yeah, because you would have to get it from RVT to something. If you're making your own, BIM assets, you can do whatever you want. You can just go and create them using Blender, I suppose. But okay, so I was just kind of wondering if there was a simple way from Revit to go into what was it that is needed?
GLB or GLTF
GLB.
files.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely that's possible through Blender. Again, I think we have some resources that I can share on our Capture Community Facebook page. Yeah, if anyone's interested.
Okay, so that is pretty much all the questions that I see in the Q&A. Again, if you threw a question up, I know this does happen sometimes. You threw a question up into chat, I may have missed it. So copy it out of there, paste it into Q&A, and then I'll be able to easily find it. But other than that, so we talked a good amount of how this gets done. Let's go back a little bit to some use cases we saw. You showed us the video of the park, and that is kind of a facility in a way trying to figure out usage of the park, how it's a public space. So how it's getting used, and they've done a lot of integration with IoT devices. We saw the school and how they're using it kind of as an educational. We've got creative and translated that to how facility managers can kind of space plan their facility prior to actually going in and physically moving things around, which is obviously a lot more time consuming and expensive. How else are you seeing your customers using ARConnect?
Yeah, so another good example I can share as well is for staff onboarding. Educating new staff members about certain elements within facilities. So I can share something with you we did for a company called Western Water. Hopefully you can see my screen okay.
Yep.
So just skipping through, this was concentrating on certain pump elements. Basically digitizing physical machinery, pumps, and then having IoT data feeding through to that, but also having this as more like a staff onboarding to just give them additional information about certain elements or machinery within the facility. And it's just seen as a great way to kind of onboard new staff, but then also kind of combining that with having live data feeding through about certain elements of machinery. the temperature, whether it needs repairing, whether it needs fixing, and how that machinery is performing as well. So you can see here we have a pump that was digitized that can be used to educate staff members on. I'm just trying to scrub through to
So it looks like they can actually
areas.
see. So you've digitized kind of the internal components of that pump or whatever it might be in the facility, and they're using it for training. So they kind of not just see the outside and not really have a full understanding of what's going on the inside, because you can't just open it up. They use this to see what's going on.
Exactly. See what's going on, and then also attaching certain elements and IoT data through feeding through, just to understand how it's operating. But then, as you said, a lot easier than going all the way underground or digging certain machinery up. This is all there, digitized, ready for them to kind of experience and be immersed in, and get the additional information that they require.
Yeah, that's also cool. We saw an example of just kind of a street, right, or just ground where you would, like you said, you'd have to dig up everything, and that's obviously not going to happen. This allows you to kind of have a better understanding of what's going on underground.
Exactly. So many use cases within a variety of industries. I think we've spanned through facilities management, museums, galleries, public areas. So there's a lot of use cases depending on what you'd like to use it for, or what you want to sell into your clients for.
Got it. Did get another question here. Let's tackle that before we do have to go. Is BIM overlay considered a basic or premium overlay?
So that would be considered a premium overlay. So anything, any digital asset that you're integrating into Captured would be considered a premium tool or premium model. In a nutshell, Captured essentially provides a free version where you can integrate your logo and branding into a tool. But then premium models then span onto our other kind of more in-depth features, such as virtual staging, audio, spatial audio integration, things like that, where they'll make it a premium model that we offer a subscription on. So our subscription starts at $20 a month for 20 premium tours. So think of it the same way as you would have Matterport available spaces on there. So having a certain amount of premium spaces that you can then apply to various different models. And then we do also have some pricing for ARConnect as well. So the augmented reality side of things, which is $35 US per month to have that accessible to an end user. You don't have to pay the $35 if you're just setting up the experience and testing yourself as an admin of your Captured account. You can not pay anything and set that space up and visualize how that will look. But as soon as you want that to be accessible to any end user to access, it's $35 US per month per model.
Got it. Okay, makes sense. Good to know. Okay, so we got that. What is the max size of the area that works without, we talked a little bit, am I getting this right? I think I have that right. We talked about like the max size of the model. It's a little ambiguous, but have you run into model size issues?
Yeah, I think I kind of understand where they're coming from, and it's the golden question, because there's no surefire way to say X number of square meters or square foot will be successful or not. It really depends on the type of scan that's been done. It depends on the hardware device that you're scanning with. Obviously, Pro 3 camera is going to be a lot more accurate and better performant than an Insta360 Matterport model, and really depends on the number of alignment points that you have within the space as well. If you have a wide open field with very limited number of alignment points that can be recognized, there's going to be some difficulties there. If anyone's unsure, I'd recommend sending me an email, sending me the model. I can have a look at it and maybe give you some advice about how best to activate AR within there. But unfortunately, and I wish there's no just blanket answer of yes or no. It really depends on the model and the scan and the area that's been captured.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's more about the surface area than just square feet, right? Or square meters. Same thing with Matterport. It's really hard to
complexity of the scan, all of that stuff. So it's really dependent on each scan, each use case.
Yeah, 100%. Okay. With that, I think we're going to have to end it. We did have one last question, but unfortunately, we are out of time. So thank you very, very much, Alex. I really, really appreciate it. I think that's amazing. I mean, I think AR is potentially bigger than VR. I think it's got a ton of applications and is just going to be absolutely huge.
Yeah, I'd absolutely agree with that. And we're only just getting started as well. There's some really exciting hardware coming out this year, obviously, with the Apple Vision Pro, and we see a lot of potential with that. And yeah, it's just a really exciting space to be in. So thanks very much, Amir and Matterport, for having me on. It's great to speak to everyone. Thank you, everyone, for joining. And yeah, looking forward to catching up with anyone who's interested in learning a bit more.
Sounds great. All right. Again, appreciate everyone's time and all the great questions. And we'll see you next month in the next Shop Talk. All right, everybody, take care and have a good rest of the day. Bye-bye.